Hello, my name is Ade and welcome to a tutorial for RPG All-in-One. In this video we'll be covering how to customize and change the UI and styling of the character creation scene. So obviously this scene right here isn't very interesting, so the first thing we want to do is change that and make it look into a more interesting scene. So nothing in the scene in regards to like models or animations is preset or hard-coded into RPG All-in-One. So you can easily just delete things, change things, and it'll be fine. So what I'll do is I'll just create a little scene and come back to you when that's done. Right, so here we go. So what I did is I just copied the scene from one of the other levels in the game, which is this. And we're going to use this to create our character creation screen. So what we have on this scene is a spawn position, and that spawn position is where our character models are going to be placed, so we can preview them as we're creating our character. So the first thing we need to do is move that position into somewhere that shows off the scene that we're using here. So like so. So perhaps we want to have a backdrop of this little house here. So we'll move that in front of the house. So it'll be something like this. We can move our camera as well. Just make sure it's looking in the right way. Game object align with view. There we go. So now our player will be just there, slightly to the right of that doorway, and the rest of our UI is there. So maybe we want to add some, let's say, particle effects, just for the sake of it. This is just to show that there's no real limitation to how you change the character creation scene. You're free to do pretty much exactly what you want. So we'll add some thunder. Why not? And we'll just have that effect looping. So every couple of seconds we should get some lightning, sorry. Like so. And just checking the scene. We'll make this 2 seconds. Nothing wrong with a lot of lightning. So there we go, got some lightning in the scene. So next thing is we want to change these buttons, this text field, make it look a bit nicer. So if we go into the UI section here, we'll start with the class's name. So we have this object here, selected class name, and that's referenced on our character create handler. So select the class name. So that's the first thing we can change. So we can move this. So let's first go to our UI. Alright, so there we go. So our class name, let's maybe move it up to the top right. We can right align it, give it a different font if we had one. So move that to the right, we'll give it a different font. Maybe change the color of it. Maybe want like a dark orange for a black shadow, like so. And maybe want a little label. So we're just gonna add a new UI component here. Make the text size a bit smaller, and we'll say selected class. And just so that always works, actually we need this to be left aligned, sorry. So like that. Maybe this should be white. So like so. And we can maybe move this slightly. Okay. Next thing is maybe this button here. Return to main menu. We can change the background image of this to something a bit simpler. Maybe this. And change the text color to white. Alright, so that's that. Again, we can do the same with the text field. We can move the name. Perhaps we want the name to be here. And again, use a different font. and finally move this create button as well. Alright, so the interesting part now. So if we save this and quickly preview it so far. So if we look at this scene now, we can see that our character is facing the wrong way, which is easily fixable. We can also see that these buttons are being assigned the names of different classes we have in the game. And if we select the different ones, that text is changing appropriately. So the first thing we can do is just make a couple of quick changes. So to select the class name and label, you just need to move a little bit to the left. And our spawn position, we just need to flip around like so. Now we can go back to our UI. So obviously this layout isn't great. We can make our own custom one. So you'll see that there's this object called a classes panel, and inside of this classes panel is where the buttons are being placed, and it also has a grid layout group. So rather than having them go across horizontally, we can instead have a fixed column count of 1, and then we can resize this and change our cell size, maybe double it, make the height a bit more, and add some spacing. Now if we move this towards the left, we can also say we start on the upper left, sorry, upper center, like that. And now we have a nice little layout for our different classes. And then perhaps we can move these over to the right. And just move this button down slightly. Okay, so these buttons are actually prefabs inside of RPG Maker Assets UI called class select buttons. So these are the buttons that are instantiated into this classes panel. And just real quick, we're going to add some spacing at the top just to make it look decent. There we go. So these buttons are instantiated into this classes panel for each class you have, and what will change is the text, and you can also change an image. So if we go here, you'll find we have a class select model. So this is a script that's required on any button that's instantiated into this panel. It just allows us to select the different classes. So we can actually have an image here. So if you go inside this button, we can actually add an image, and what we're going to do first is just make this text not take up the entire thing, and that way we can have the image just on the left there, like so. Maybe move it down slightly, oops, like that. Let's just put like a sample image just to see how it looks, like that. Maybe we could change the font of this. So this, for example, will say Spartan King, and that's how it will look in game. So it looks quite nice. You can add a shadow component to it and make it maybe a blue, and that should look fine. Okay, so we now have an image and some text. So the image we want to assign to our image variable, and now that image will change based on the class's image. So if we go and check RPGAIO real quick, our warlord has one icon and our Spartan King has a different one. Okay, and we can also change the button style, and obviously maybe this image we'd prefer if it had a transparent background, but again, that's up to you to customize. And so there we go. We want to make sure we apply so that prefab is used for all of the buttons. And now we can test out how our new character creation looks. One more thing, if you'd like to customize the music that plays in the background during character creation, just click on Character Create Theme, set the volume to your liking, recommend something below 1, and then just choose an audio clip to play. So perhaps victory theme. And if we then choose to play on awake, we can hear that music as we create our character. So as you can see, now we have our new character creation screen. We have our selected class at the top, which changes depending on which class we select. We also have our text field here to type in the name of our new character, and then we can hit create once we've entered the name. And there we go, that's how to customize some of the UI and styling of the character creation screen. If you'd like more tutorials and videos on RPG All-in-One, check out the link in the description, and have a wonderful day.